What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on first take, we're going to be talking about which quarterback had a better career, Eli Manning or Ben Roethlisberger. So let's see what they have to say.
I'm not trying to ridicule Eli Manning in any way. He was an Iron Man. He was a consummate professional. He was always there. He's a really, really good dude. And I'm really happy that he's electing to walk away, and he deserves all the love that New York can possibly muster up to give him. But let's call this what it is.
So definitely congratulations to Eli Manning. He definitely had a solid career and did a lot for the New York Giants. So let's continue.
Eli Manning was a 500 quarterback career-wise, literally so. 117 and 117. You've seen Big Ben Roethlisberger's record as a quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You've seen how many years the New York Giants missed the playoffs when the Pittsburgh Steelers were in the mix. You're talking about 6 times in 7 years, 7 times over a 9-year period that the Giants were on the outside looking in to the playoffs. I think when you think about the kind of career that Eli Manning had compared to Ben Roethlisberger, you could sit up there and say they both had as equally as many joyous moments. One could argue, I would say Big Ben had more, but if you're the Super Bowl MVP and you want to count that as a joyous moment, okay, he's got 2 and Ben Roethlisberger has none.
Why wouldn't you add in that you're a 2-time Super Bowl MVP? I mean, that's kind of significant, isn't it?
Roethlisberger made 3 appearances to the Super Bowl and a number of more appearances in the postseason than Eli Manning. And he has a better record. And so for me, the combination of all of those things gives Big Ben Roethlisberger the edge career-wise over Eli Manning. Much respect to Eli Manning, but I just view it that way.
I say this totally.
So I definitely have to give the edge to Ben Roethlisberger, a slight edge. So let's take a quick look at their stats. So they both came in 2004. So games played, Eli Manning played in 236 games. He started 210 straight games. Ben Roethlisberger played in 218. The overall record, Eli Manning is 117 and 117. Ben Roethlisberger is 144, 71, and 1. Passing attempts, Eli Manning, 8,119. Ben Roethlisberger, 7,230. Passing completions, Eli Manning's 4,895. Ben Roethlisberger's 4,651. Completion percentage, Eli Manning 60.3. Ben Roethlisberger 64.3. And yards passed, Eli Manning 57,023 yards passed. Ben Roethlisberger 56,545 yards. Touchdowns, Eli Manning 366. Ben Roethlisberger 363. Interceptions thrown, Eli Manning 244. Ben Roethlisberger 191. So those numbers, they're kind of ballpark with each other. So let's take a quick look at the rushing. So Eli Manning ran the ball 315 times. Ben Roethlisberger ran the ball 470 times. Eli Manning ran for 567 yards. Ben Roethlisberger ran for 1,357 yards. Eli Manning ran for 7 touchdowns, and Ben Roethlisberger ran for 19 touchdowns. So the numbers are ballpark. But, I think their highs kind of trump out each other. But I have to say for career, I'd go with Ben Roethlisberger with a slight edge. So let's continue.
Differently. If you're talking about peak value, then clearly Ben Roethlisberger had more peak value in the sense that there were many years of Ben Roethlisberger's career where he was a top 5 quarterback or so. That's not Eli. Eli in his best years was a top 10 quarterback or so. If Roethlisberger can come back from injury, like when last on a football field, is still really good. Eli's been terrible for a couple years now. So I get as maybe he'll have more good peak seasons. Roethlisberger's peak is extended longer. I get that. At their best, he's better, except when it mattered most. First of all, and then there's even a separate point I want to make. First of all, Eli, as I keep bringing up, when 538 asked who's the most clutch quarterback in playoff history, Eli won that by so much that they changed the metrics the way they did it. Like, something's wrong. This dude can't be number 1 by that much. Let's do a new methodology where we get all the Trent Dilfers out of there and just see. Eli still won it. This time Joe Montana was on his heels, but Eli still won it. He went on the road to take out, who was it? Matt Ryan, Tony Romo, went to Lambeau to beat not only Brett Favre, but also Aaron Rodgers in his 2 Super Bowl runs, and then beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl twice for 2 Super Bowl MVPs. But then he was an...
That's the main kicker right there. He beat Tom Brady, arguably the GOAT, twice. Not one time, twice. So it's not a fluke. So let's continue.
Iron Man. Roethlisberger's getting hurt, not Eli. You can rely on him every single year. And then we talk about weapons. You bring it up with Mahomes. What does he have around him? When you gave Eli, I don't mean at the end of his career, when you gave Eli in his prime weapons, he did damage. When you gave him Plexico Burress, they went to work. Roethlisberger throughout his career had better weapons than Eli. Eli played in bad weather conditions, all that stuff. So you can make those kind of arguments, but when you talk about a career, it's also off the field and how you represent the franchise as a quarterback.
Yeah, so I want to stay away from whatever happened off the field. I'm specifically just talking about what they did on the field.
Who's represented their franchise better, do you think, on and off the field? Eli Manning or Ben Roethlisberger?
Eli Manning.
So Eli has been more clutch when it mattered most. He's an Iron Man available all the time, played under worse circumstances with lesser weapons. When you gave it to him, he did business, and he represents your franchise better. Am I glad that they drafted Eli instead of Roethlisberger? Because they could have had either one. As a Giants fan, damn right I am Eli Manning.
So again, I'm going to have to give the slight edge to Ben Roethlisberger. So let's take a quick look at some more awards for these guys. So here's some awards for Eli Manning. So he's won 2 Super Bowls. He's a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. He's went to 4 Pro Bowls, and he won the Walter Payton Man of the Year, I think in 2004. I can't remember when he won that, but that's pretty good. So let's take a look at Ben Roethlisberger's awards. So Ben Roethlisberger's been to 3 Super Bowls. He's won 2 Super Bowls. He's been to 6 Pro Bowls. He's a 2-time NFL passing yard leader and NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. So, I mean, these guys are pretty much sitting in the same ballpark. Like I said, the highs for Ben Roethlisberger, he went to 3 Super Bowls. That can kind of trump Eli Manning's going to 2. But Eli Manning beat Tom Brady twice, arguably the man that he's supposed to be the GOAT. So they're tops and bottoms. They kind of trump each other out. But for the most part, for career, I'd have to give the slight edge to Ben Roethlisberger. So let's continue.
I think when you're talking about 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, because both these guys are going to be in the Hall of Fame.
I agree. Definitely Eli Manning belongs in the Hall of Fame.
You look at what separates these 2 individuals, and the thing that stands out to me is consistency. And I think that's really the biggest difference between Eli Manning and Big Ben Roethlisberger. Big Ben, over his career, Eli has had some tremendous moments. I think we all can agree on that. You touched upon it, whether you talk about the, winning in Lambeau, the 2 Super Bowls against Tom Brady. Those are moments. But the one knock on Eli is the amount of seasons where he missed the postseason, as opposed to Big Ben Roethlisberger. Now, some people say...
But their playoff win percentage is comparable. Actually, Eli's is better.
That is true. But I think when
Ben went there more.
Yeah, but when he got there...
He went there more.
With a better coach and more weapons.
But I will say this. Just from... If we stacking oranges to oranges here and just look at the consistency as far as numbers, and you're talking about Eli Manning, guy who led the league in interception 3 different seasons. So that matters when we're trying to state the case. Who had the better Hall of Fame career? The little things matter, in my opinion. Okay, so for me, Big Ben Roethlisberger over his career has been more consistent as a quarterback than Eli Manning. Eli Manning has had bigger moments than Big Ben Roethlisberger. But if we're talking about just consistent career, Hall of Fame career,
look, if you're saying
then you got to go.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Woody on this one. So definitely, like I said, I think they both kind of trump each other out, if not Ben Roethlisberger kind of coming out ahead. Like I said, he's been to 3 Super Bowls. He won 2, which you can say that trumps Eli Manning. But Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. He never lost, and he beat Tom Brady. So I think that's the main kicker right there that will get Eli Manning into the Hall of Fame and puts him above all the other quarterbacks, is he beat Tom Brady twice. Not once, but twice, so you know it wasn't a fluke. Just because of that right there, that immediately puts you at the top of the echelon and puts you in the Hall of Fame. I mean, how could you not be? If you beat the best of the best twice, well, then what does that mean for you? Some people could arguably say that Eli Manning is probably the GOAT because he beat Tom Brady, and everybody's calling Tom Brady the GOAT. So what does that mean if you beat the GOAT twice? So like I said, between Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger, they both have, highs and lows in their careers, and you can say they both kind of trump each other out. But for career-wise, I might have to say Ben Roethlisberger because he was a little bit more, or He was more consistent than Eli, but Eli Manning's peaks are so high that it evens things out with Ben Roethlisberger's consistent career. So I hope that makes sense. But let's continue.
You got to go with Big Ben
If the question
Roethlisberger.
is who's better, Roethlisberger was better than Eli. But if you said who had the greater career, and you include everything, how you represent your franchise on and off the field, are you available every week?
No.
How did you perform in the
No.
biggest moments? Did you win Super Bowls?
No.
Did you win Super Bowl MVPs?
No, you can't sit up there and say you can't bring in off the field because we're talking about numbers here, what they produced on the field. Clearly, there's nothing to dog. I mean, it's very few people that have been more impeccable behavior-wise than Eli Manning and Peyton Manning in their careers. This just don't.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying before. Don't bring up stuff off the field. We only need to talk about the things that happen on the field. And Eli, he's not exactly a saint. So I do believe Eli Manning had some trouble when he was at Ole Miss with some type of partying. He got arrested or something like that. He was caught drinking or something like that. That's not bad, but Eli Manning knows how to have fun. Let's put it that way. Let's not act like he's just some complete angel. Eli Manning definitely knows how to have fun. He wasn't getting DUIs and beating up his girlfriend, getting caught with guns and, popping hot for cocaine and weed and all that. But he knows how to have fun. So let's continue.
Question about it, okay? There's no question about that, all right? And we understand that without denigrating Big Ben Roethlisberger. But the reality is that there's been several times throughout the years where Eli Manning was nowhere to be found. 2011, they win the Super Bowl. They didn't get back to the playoffs until 2016. I mean, come on now. When you look at it, the 6 years, Ben Roethlisberger has been to the postseason 10 times. Eli Manning, 6 times. Ben Roethlisberger's got just as many Super Bowls as Eli Manning. He's been in the mix significantly more than Eli Manning. Now, I look at it from the perspective that.
And you could also say that Ben Roethlisberger played in a tougher division because, again, he's dealing with the Tom Brady. He's dealing with Peyton Manning. He's dealing with all that. And some people call Tom Brady the GOAT, arguably the GOAT. So he's had to go through a lot more tougher divisions than what Eli Manning has had to go through. But like I said, Eli Manning beat Tom Brady twice, and some people call him the GOAT. So like I said, their peaks and valleys, they kind of trump each other out. So let's continue.
Again, you can talk about big moments and what have you, and we can look at it. And I think the big moments with Eli Manning are debatable. Not the pass to Mario Manningham, not the performance at Lambeau Field. We get all of that.
Or in San Francisco against that defense.
But you're talking about like the defense in the Super Bowl.
But the defense.
Yeah, so before this video is over, so Eli Manning does have a lot of stats that you don't necessarily see, but I think Eli Manning has like 30 records for the New York Giants, and I think he has like 2 or 3 overall records in the NFL. So it's not like Eli Manning was some slouch. People say he wasn't consistent, but Eli Manning definitely put in some work. He has some pretty strong stats. That mixed in with him beating arguably the GOAT and Tom Brady, that definitely gets him into the Hall of Fame and definitely even things up with Ben Roethlisberger's consistent career. But overall, I would give Ben Roethlisberger the edge. But if we're talking about the Hall of Fame, they both need to go, and Eli can definitely go too. Because like I said, you immediately get thrown to the top of the Hall of Fame ballots if you beat the guy that everybody thinks is called the GOAT and Tom Brady. And if you do that, then you have to go to the top. You have to. So let's continue.
I mean, Eli Manning, listen, Big Ben Roethlisberger didn't throw for 300-plus yards in the Super Bowl either in the 2 Super Bowl victories.